Have you ever found yourself standing at a crossroads in life where everything around you seems to shift and you begin questioning what's truly important? At 70, I've gone through this profound transformation myself. Today, I want to share my personal experiences, why I've started distancing myself from people, how time feels more valuable than ever, and why relationships have evolved in ways I never could have anticipated. By the end of this video, you'll understand why embracing solitude can bring peace, how our priorities naturally change with age, and why it's okay to let go of what no longer serves us. Stick around as we dive into this journey of appreciating the present and cherishing the relationships that truly matter. Before we continue, if you find these insights helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could like this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so and turning on notifications so you never miss an update. And if you like what you see, feel free to leave a comment with a healthy life. If it's not quite what you were hoping for, drop a unhealthy so I can improve future content. Let's dive in. As I reflect on my life at 70, one of the most significant shifts has been in my relationship with time. Time now feels incredibly precious. It's no longer just the ticking of the clock or flipping through pages of the calendar. It's a deeper realization that time is limited, and once it's gone for good. When I was younger, time seemed endless, like a river flowing toward an unknown horizon. I took it for granted, thinking there would always be more of it. I spent time on shallow conversations, relationships that didn't add much, and tasks that had little to no fulfillment. At the time, I didn't fully understand the fleeting nature of those moments. But now, with each passing year, I've learned to value every second. I no longer view time as something that's simply passing by. It's become a companion, sometimes gentle, sometimes harsh, but always present. I cherish the quiet mornings with a warm cup of coffee, the peaceful afternoons spent walking and reflecting, and the evenings when I sit in my favorite chair, surrounded by memories and wisdom gained through the years. I once filled my days with constant activity, thinking that being busy was the key to a fulfilling life. But I've come to realize that it's not the quantity of things or the number of people in your life that matters most. It's the quality of the moments you share and the depth of your connections. Now, I make more intentional choices about how I spend my time and with whom. I'd much rather have a meaningful conversation with someone who truly understands me than attend a crowded event where I feel like just another face in the crowd. Time, I've learned, is irreplaceable, and I've become fiercely protective of it. When you're young, there's a sense of security that time will always be there. You think there will always be another chance, another tomorrow to fix mistakes or rekindle old relationships. But as you grow older, you realize that those tomorrows are finite. This realization is both sobering and liberating. It's not about fearing the passage of time, but about becoming more intentional in how I spend it. I no longer waste hours on things that don't matter, whether it's trivial drama or shallow interactions. Instead, I focus on nurturing my health, pursuing my passions, and investing in relationships that bring joy into my life. This shift in perspective has brought a profound sense of peace. I no longer feel guilty for saying no to things that don't align with my values. I've learned that it's okay to prioritize solitude over socializing. It's not that I don't value relationships. I do, perhaps more than ever. But my priorities have shifted. I now seek authentic connections and enriching conversations, not just activity for the sake of staying busy. Time has become something to savor, not just something to measure. Letting go has become another important part of this journey. Letting go of past regrets, grudges, and the pressure to do everything. It's about embracing the moment without rushing to the next. Some of the most meaningful moments in life aren't the big milestones or achievements. They're the small, quiet joys, the feel of a gentle breeze, a song that takes you back, or the warmth of a shared laugh. At 70, I've stopped chasing time. Instead, I've started embracing it, savoring each moment as it comes. In doing so, I've found contentment I never expected. As relationships evolve over the years, I've noticed that some become deeper and more meaningful, while others fade away. Some relationships are strengthened by shared experiences and mutual understanding. These are the ones that become more valuable with time. But not all relationships are meant to last forever, and I've come to accept that. It used to be that I thought I needed a wide circle of friends and acquaintances to feel fulfilled. I was the one who remembered birthdays, attended every event, and made sure to keep everyone happy. But over time, I realized that maintaining connections with everyone wasn't always beneficial. Some relationships took more energy than they gave, leaving me drained rather than nourished. Life has a way of naturally trimming the social tree, and I've come to accept that. People move away, get caught up in their own lives, or change in ways that make it harder to stay close. Some relationships end abruptly, while others simply fade away, like leaves in autumn. I used to take these losses personally, wondering what I could have done differently. But now, I understand that life's journey pulls each of us in different directions. People come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and not all connections are meant to endure forever. As I've grown older, I've also changed. I value simplicity, kindness, and authenticity more than ever. I no longer have the patience for relationships that feel one-sided, or for people who take more than they give. The lessons I've learned about relationships, especially through heartache, have taught me to set boundaries, recognize red flags, and, most importantly, prioritize my well-being. I now invest my time and energy into relationships that lift me up rather than those that drain me. Of course, there are moments when I feel a sense of nostalgia for relationships that have faded. Friends I once considered family members whose paths have led them far from mine. It's hard not to feel a tinge of sadness when I think of those connections that have slipped away. But I've learned to appreciate these relationships for what they were, a part of my story that helped shape who I am today. They may no longer be part of my present, but the lessons and memories I carry from them will always stay with me. Trust, too, has become more fragile over time. When I was younger, I trusted easily, believing in the goodness of others. But life has a way of teaching hard lessons. Betrayals, broken trust, and unreciprocated loyalty have left me more cautious. Now, I'm selective about who I allow into my inner circle. It's not out of bitterness, but out of the understanding that trust is precious, and once broken, it's hard to rebuild. At 70, I no longer take relationships, or time, for granted. Both are too precious to waste. And while some moments and relationships fade, others grow deeper, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. As life unfolds, it has a way of teaching us lessons we didn't know we needed. Over the years, I've discovered that sometimes experience leaves us with more questions than answers, and more caution than confidence. There was a time when I trusted freely, expecting the best in people. But I've learned the hard way that not everyone I meet will be who they first appear to be. There were friendships that turned out to be more about what I could give than who I was. A business partner once shared a dream with me, but over time, it became clear that personal gain was their true priority. Even family, those who I thought would always be there, distanced themselves in ways I couldn't quite grasp, making me question where things went wrong. These experiences have forced me into a tough decision. I could close myself off to everyone, or I could continue to engage with people, but with a mix of openness and caution. I chose the latter, but it came with its own set of challenges. When someone new enters my life now, my first instinct isn't excitement or curiosity, it's suspicion. My mind races with questions. What do they really want? What is their true intention? It's an uncomfortable mindset, but one that has become necessary for my emotional well-being. It doesn't make me happy, but it's a form of self-preservation. I've come to realize, though, that trust isn't just about relying on others. It's about trusting myself, too. Trusting my instincts when something feels off, and having the strength to walk away from toxic relationships, no matter how long they've been a part of my life. I've also learned that protecting my heart sometimes means keeping a safe distance from those who haven't earned my trust. Still, trust is a delicate thing. It's not something to be taken lightly, but it's not impossible to rebuild. I've been fortunate enough to meet people along the way who've shown me that trust is still possible, even in a world that often feels distant and disconnected. A kind stranger who offered help when I dropped something in the store. A neighbor who checks in on me during bad weather. These small acts of kindness remind me that while trust may be harder to give now, it's still there, waiting to be earned. I've learned that trust isn't about building walls that no one can climb over. It's about constructing gates that are strong enough to keep out harm, yet open enough to allow love, kindness, and meaningful connections in when the time feels right. Trust, at this stage in my life, has become both simpler and more complex. The few people I trust are close to my heart, and I hold those connections deeply. But I also guard my boundaries more firmly than I once did. Relationships are no longer something I take for granted, and I cherish the ones that truly matter. At 70, I can honestly say that this newfound understanding of trust is a gift I treasure. The world I see now feels vastly different from the one I grew up in. It's not just the faster pace or the technological advancements, it's the way we relate to one another. I often find myself wondering where the warmth and simplicity of life have gone. When I was young, neighbors were like family. We knew each other's names, and it wasn't unusual to stop by someone's house unannounced just to share a cup of coffee or catch up. Helping one another was second nature. No one needed to ask. Families gathered, not out of obligation, but because they genuinely enjoyed one another's company. There was a depth to those relationships, a sense of belonging that didn't require constant effort to maintain. Now, it feels like everyone is too busy chasing something, whether it's success, recognition, or just trying to keep up with the demands of modern life. People don't visit like they used to, and conversations have become rushed, as if we're all racing against an invisible clock. Even within families, connections sometimes feel stretched thin by both physical and emotional distance. Technology, for all its benefits, has only added to this change. I'm grateful for the ability to video call my grandchildren or keep in touch with friends across the miles, but I can't shake the feeling that these virtual connections often create barriers. There's something irreplaceable about being physically present with someone, sitting across from them, hearing the nuances in their voice, and feeling the warmth of their presence in a way that no screen can fully replicate. I sometimes long to step away from all of it, to silence the constant stream of notifications, the news updates, and the endless scrolling. The world has become louder, yet at the same time, it feels lonelier. I miss the simplicity of a time when relationships felt more grounded, more authentic. Back then, people weren't distracted by technology, and time together wasn't something to be squeezed into a busy schedule. It was cherished. Of course, I realize that nostalgia can make the past seem more perfect than it was, and every era has its own struggles. But there's a deep yearning in me to hold on to what still feels real, to protect those connections that truly matter. I've also come to understand the difference between solitude and loneliness. When I was younger, I feared being alone, equating it with loneliness. The thought of spending time by myself seemed unbearable. But with age and experience, I've come to appreciate solitude in a way I never did before. Loneliness is a yearning for connection, an emptiness that feels impossible to fill. Solitude, on the other hand, is a contentment in one's own company. It's a fullness, a quiet peace that I've come to value. At 70, I find that some of my happiest moments come from simply being still. Watching birds outside my window with a cup of tea, feeling the sun warm my face during a walk, or listening to the crackle of a fire in the evening. These small, simple moments bring a peace that no crowded room could ever offer. Solitude has also given me the space to reflect, to revisit memories with gratitude rather than regret, and to make peace with things I once struggled to understand. I still enjoy spending time with my family and friends, but now I savor those moments more deeply because they are a choice, not an obligation. Solitude has also taught me to love myself in a way that external validation never could. It has shown me that my worth isn't determined by how many people are around me or how full my social calendar is. It's in those quiet moments, when I'm alone with my thoughts, that I realize I am enough, just as I am. At this stage in my life, I've come to understand that not every relationship is worth holding on to, and not every connection deserves my energy. Avoiding people isn't about bitterness. It's about preserving my peace. After 7 decades of giving, learning, loving, and sometimes hurting, I've learned to recognize when a relationship no longer serves my well-being. It's a bittersweet but freeing lesson, and it's one that has allowed me to create space for the connections that truly nourish my soul. Over the years, I've made a conscious decision to step away from the noise of external expectations and social obligations. It's not that I don't value connection, but I found that the quieter moments, the ones spent in solitude, are where I truly find peace. I've learned the importance of protecting my emotional energy, and as a result, I've started distancing myself from people who bring unnecessary drama into my life. There are some individuals who make everything about themselves, never pausing to ask how I'm doing or showing genuine interest when they do. I've also stepped back from people who take my kindness for granted, assuming it's a bottomless well. More importantly, I've learned to recognize situations that diminish who I am and make me feel small. This doesn't mean I've closed myself off to the world completely, though. I still cherish the meaningful relationships. Those that have endured the test of time, the friends and family who are there not because they need something, but because they genuinely care. These connections are precious to me, and I nurture them with all the love I have to give. But I've realized that I don't need a vast network of acquaintances to feel fulfilled. A smaller, deeper circle is more than enough. Stepping back from the constant demands of others has allowed me the space to reflect and reconnect with myself. I've discovered more time for self-care and more energy to focus on the things that truly bring me joy. Avoiding certain people and situations has taught me the invaluable lesson that my inner peace is sacred, and no amount of external validation is worth sacrificing it. This is a lesson I carry with me every day, and I hope to continue learning it as I grow older. When I look back on my younger years, I realize how much of my time was spent trying to meet everyone else's expectations. I tried to be everything for everyone: a supportive friend, a reliable partner, a good family member. But as the years passed, I began to see how draining that was. By the end of it all, there was little of myself left to give. Now, I no longer apologize for protecting my time and energy. I don't feel guilty for choosing solitude over social gatherings. I no longer wonder if something is wrong with me for needing time alone, to reflect, to breathe, and to simply exist. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, maybe you've found yourself making similar choices. Maybe you've started distancing yourself from relationships that no longer serve you or situations that leave you drained. Perhaps you've noticed that you now value the quality of your relationships more than the quantity. This transition can feel daunting, and there are moments where it seems like you're letting go of parts of yourself. But in truth, this phase of life is about shedding what no longer fits. It's about making room for peace, joy, and the things that truly matter. And if you resonate with this, know that you're not alone. There's no rule book for navigating this stage, no universal approach that works for everyone. Some people thrive in large social circles, even as they age, and that's wonderful. But if, like me, you find comfort in solitude and prefer deeper, more meaningful connections, that's valid too. At 70, I've learned that it's okay to let go of what no longer serves me. It's okay to prioritize myself, to protect my peace, and to live life on my terms. In doing so, I've discovered a freedom I never knew existed, the freedom to be unapologetically myself. So if you find yourself withdrawing from certain people or choosing solitude more often, don't see it as a loss, see it as a gain. It's a gift to carve out a life that feels right for you, even if it doesn't align with others' expectations. This chapter of life is one of reflection, growth, and the courage to live authentically. It's a time to embrace who you are, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to create space for what brings you peace. At 70, I've come to understand that life is not about endings, but rather about beginnings. Each stage brings its own lessons and beauty, and this chapter is no different. It's about embracing the simplicity and depth of life, finding joy in small moments, and letting go of what holds us back. Reflecting on my life, I feel deeply grateful, not for the big milestones or achievements, but for the everyday moments that make life meaningful. The quiet moments, the warmth of a hug, the laughter of a loved one. These are the things that anchor me and remind me of what truly matters. This phase is also about shifting focus. It's not about the restlessness of trying to do more or be more. It's about appreciating what's right in front of me. I've come to find joy in tending my garden, discovering new hobbies, or simply being still and soaking in the world around me. In these moments of quiet joy, I reconnect with my soul. One of the greatest gifts of this stage of life is the freedom to let go. Freedom from societal expectations, freedom from the need to prove myself, and freedom from the pressure to please everyone. I've learned the power of saying no to commitments that drain me, to relationships that no longer nourish me, and to trying to be everything to everyone. By doing this, I've created space for what truly matters: peace, love, and authentic connections. There's a courage that comes with aging, the courage to live authentically, to be unapologetically yourself. I no longer fear judgment or misunderstanding. At 70, I've earned the right to prioritize my well-being, to speak my truth, and to live on my own terms. Gratitude is at the core of this chapter. I'm grateful for the life I've lived, for the people I've loved, and for the moments of joy that have illuminated my path. Above all, I am grateful for the simple fact that I am still here, still living, still learning, and still growing. If any of this resonates with you, I want you to know that it's okay to embrace this chapter on your terms. Life is not about how much we do or have, but about what we cherish, the small moments, the relationships, and the peace we cultivate. Choose what feels right for you. You deserve to protect your peace and embrace the life that fulfills you. Thank you for joining me today. I hope these reflections have brought you something valuable. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What lessons are you learning in this stage of life? Please share, and if you found this video meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us reach more people with messages of hope and inspiration. Stay blessed.